Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jared Poirier, and welcome to my movie review show where I talk about movies. So those that have been watching my channel for a while know that normally I like to review new movies that have recently come out in cinema. But every once in a while I think it's good to review a classic film. So on today's show, we're reviewing Scarface. Cause looking around at the new releases right now guys, like what did you want me to review? Peter Rabbit? 50 Shades of Grey 3? No. We're doing Scarface. Alright, so Scarface was released in 1983. It's directed by Brian De Palma, and it was written by Oliver Stone. And not a lot of people know this, but Scarface is actually a remake of an original 1932 film by the same name. But as far as me and many other gangster film fans are concerned, this is the definitive version of Scarface. And of course we have a Scarface remake of the remake that's actually apparently supposed to be coming out this year. I'm pretty sure that they don't even have a director for that project yet, but the Coen brothers had something to do with the script. Anyway, from what it looks like right now, it doesn't look like that movie's going to be any good, so this will probably continue to be the definitive Scarface. Alright, so let's get right into it guys. Here's my review of Scarface. The first thing that I really love about Scarface are the great characters. You've got Al Pacino as Tony Montana in this movie, and he is just so charismatic and so interesting to watch every single time that he's on screen. You've also got Michelle Pfeiffer as Elvira, who gives a really convincing performance as Tony Montana's wife. I really like the way that she has a sassy personality, but you can also see why Scarface fell in love with her. And then you've got Frank, and honestly, Frank seems like a really likable, nice guy for a drug lord. You know, he's always wearing nice suits and just sort of sitting around, sipping some scotch. He seems like a cool guy to hang out with. And I honestly feel bad for Frank because as soon as Scarface shows up, it's clear that he's past his prime and he's on his way out. And then there's Manny, and what can you really say about Manny? He's a pretty funny character, but he pretty much just follows Scarface around. Alright, so the next thing that I want to talk about here are some of the themes in this movie, and I actually thought that this movie explored some pretty interesting themes. I actually think that the public perception of this movie doesn't really reflect what I experienced, because you get the idea that this is just a gangster film about a guy that does a whole bunch of coke and then kills a bunch of people. But really, Scarface is a movie about coming from nothing and rising to the top. And doing so on the strength of your personality, a bit of luck, some hard work, and some giant balls. And even in the worst of circumstances, like when he's in a refugee camp, Tony Montana is always looking for that opportunity to make something of himself. So I think that on the one hand, Scarface is actually a really inspiring movie about a man that comes from nothing and actually becomes very successful. But then on the other hand, this movie is ultimately a tragedy because Scarface gets a lot of success, but his wife hates him, his mom hates him, his sister commits suicide, and well, you know, not to spoil a movie that's 30 years old, but he gets all shot at the end. But at least he goes out in an awesome coke-fueled rampage. And I think that this movie actually does a really good job of exploring the negative side of success. For instance, Scarface is able to steal Frank's wife, but she's so coked out that he's not able to have a baby with her. And Scarface is massively wealthy and successful, but his mom hates him and his sister killed herself. And throughout the entire movie, Tony Montana seems to have this like cognitive dissonance where the people that he loves aren't allowed to do drugs, have sex, commit acts of violence, anything like that. But you know, he can do all of the immoral stuff that he wants. So I thought that this movie did a really good job of exploring both sides of success, how you can be massively wealthy, but also there's a massive downside to all of that wealth. Alright, so the last thing that I want to talk about here, guys, is the script. And I actually think that Oliver Stone deserves a lot of credit here. Scarface is an incredibly well-written movie. Because when you really think about it, pretty much everything that happens in this movie is completely ridiculous. Like, it's completely ridiculous that some Cuban refugee can just come to America and become a drug kingpin in like no time. But the way that everything is constructed in the script and the way that it's delivered by the actors really makes the whole thing seem believable. And this is really great because it allows Tony Montana to just be this outrageous character. I ain't never fucked over anybody in my life that didn't have it coming to him. You should have kept your mouth shut. They would have thought you were a horse and let you out. You waste my time? Okay, I call my lawyer. He's the best lawyer in Miami. He's such a good lawyer that by tomorrow morning, you're gonna be working in Alaska, so dress warm. So yeah, guys, in my opinion, Scarface is a really great film. I find Tony Montana's story very inspirational, but at the same time, I also like how this movie explored the downside of success. And Scarface isn't just a good gangster movie, guys. This is a really well-written movie with really great performances, and it explores some really interesting themes. So guys, if you have never seen Scarface, if you like gangster movies, you probably have, but if you haven't, I would definitely recommend it. Definitely check out Scarface. So as always guys, please leave any of your questions down in the comments. Maybe talk about some of your favorite gangster films. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time.